Okie dokie. Can we figure anything out today? We're gonna start doing some basic groundwork. I've been working on other things on this project before, but I want to start doing something even more basic. So what we're gonna do first is just pop open a sprite. And decide on an initial sprite size. So how big should it be? Hello, Ghost. Oh, you're working on a Sunday? Poor fella. Alright, dude. Have a good day, man. I was gonna open something. Where is it at? Good morning from Palucard and me. Hello, Volpes. Hello, Palucard. How's it going? Where the fuck is it? Where are they hiding it? Utils, cache. So confused. Gee, there. I think it is it this one? Yeah. This is the CDDA sprite sheet. So how large is a sprite here? This is like 48. Oh, you had a meetup? Alright, that's cool. You can do a lot with 48. But it does kind of suck. Let's go with 64 maybe. Let's see. What is it? 4096 divided by 64. That's 64. Alright. We do that. Maybe. And we do just an empty one. Black one. Brown. Green. Blue. Red. Something like that. Like that, and then make another one. I feel like this should just be a... I don't know. I don't really know how I want to handle this sprite sheet, but for now, let's just... draw a little character. It does not need to be good. That is not the point. Honestly, that's good enough. And then let's see. How does this work? It doesn't. What was the workaround? Yeah, we run this. There. Why does this not show up here? Is it supposed to be like... Should we say... There? That existing folder. Okay, so is it supposed to go in the content? Like that. And then build. Why is the sprite font being skipped? Because I think it's already been built. Right? Something like that. And so we have sprites and tiles here. I never loaded it. Don't really know how to do it. Let's see. How we should handle this system. That's generation. What should I call this? I feel like it should be in a folder. This should be tile system, maybe. I don't know. And then in there, we're gonna need a class. Called tile. And the tile is going to contain some stuff. Public int x, public int y, public. I feel like this is a string because it needs a tile sheet. So that's the tricky part. Like, what's the best way to target it? Do I just say that it's a string? Because here I do feel like I have to think about like modability. So I feel like if the tile sheet is missing, then you know that's that. Public int collision type, maybe. What else? Public int tile type. What else? And here I guess data. So what's another word? Like the data, that's just all that, and then stats. Let's just call it stats. Public int help, or what should we call it? I could call it health, but that feels stupid. Durability. Hardness. What else could it have? Public int amount, maybe volume. Maybe we could be happy with that. And the next question is, how do we make tiles in the best way? I feel like I'm already overthinking. I'm like, okay, how should I do this so that you can like mod in new tiles, blah blah blah. But fuck it, let's not even think about that. I'm trying to do this in a way that is just simple for me. Because I'm thinking like the way it should work is that there should be a bunch of different tile types, right? But there are several ways to do it. The easiest way is to, now that I've made this tiled class, that I just make another class here that just contains tile types. And that's just a list of new tile and then values for this. And then you just use that. And that's the easy way. Another way is to do kind of that, but we also make new classes for tiles. I could do both, so that if the tile needs a new class, I can make that. We can rename this to base tile. There. I'll be right back. Oh. All right. There we got our class, and what I also wanted to was to have something like this. But that will be done later. A virtual on trigger so that tiles can have some kind of trigger, right? And I don't know if I should rename this. Because here I have like the base tile. But should I just have all the tiles in here? No, let's say let's add another class. Call it tile list tile. Something like that, and I feel like this could be a static. And then here we just have a public static array, honestly. No, I don't want this to be called base tile. I want this to be called tile. Wait, what the hell? I just rename not work. Nice. I stupid. Okay, so there's a tile for sharp DX, built-in tile effect. Yes, fuck that. Why it's still upset? Oh, because I'm retarded. Yeah, there we go. Right? And then the sprite sheet should just be tiles. And then here we have the tile type. The tile type really needs to be an enum. But an int and an enum is the same thing. It's just I need to change it. But I just don't know what to set it as right now. So we're just gonna keep it there. Right? And then we have collision type. That's one. The next question is how to handle layering. Like, there needs to be a floor tile, there needs to be a wall tile. But then you can also have things like details, something placed there, and then something placed on top of that. So the question is how to handle that. I do have an idea. I think a tile should have a name. Actually. Oh, no. That's wrong. This is duck. And this is collider. Like that. And then the question is, how should I handle the actual... Should I have it, an entire class called a tile matrix? Because what this should be is basically just... The easiest way is to just do a public int to the array. And just call this the tile matrix. Right? And that way you can just populate it with a number, and then you use the tile list as a lookup for rendering. And that's how you do it. But I think that's bad. I think we should have... I don't really know when to use internal. But then here, public struct. I don't even know if it should be in a class like this, but public struct tile container. And this should contain a public tile reference. I'm just going to call it tile ref. it's not that easy either. Because this is where I want to do the layering. So all of these are tile refs. So this should be like wall, public, tile floor, public, tile detail. But even then, it's not that simple. Because I feel like I need another struct. What should I call that? Layer container. I don't like it. I don't like it. But I don't know. Maybe that's it. This does not need to be an int. This is a byte, which is very important. Current durability and current volume, I guess, could be int, but I feel like a byte would be sufficient for each. Because if you're doing any kind of tile system, the data types you're using are actually very important, because it quickly adds up in memory, especially if you use 3D. So having like any kind of data values for each tile becomes kind of dangerous. To the point where I kind of think this should be on demand. Kind of. And what I mean with that is a tile doesn't necessarily need to have like durability or volume unless it needs it, right? Or rather, if it has been like affected beyond the default in any manner. But we can think about that later. That's just another way you can save memory, where like if the data is just default, then it just doesn't have any data. You just read the tile reference from the list here, and you see like what's the default volume, and then that's what it has. And then if you like strike it or whatever, then you add another component to it that stores the new data. That doesn't mean that every tile has to have default values. You could generate, and then maybe some tiles are like lower in volume, and then those could also have that. It's just a way of minimizing memory use, I think. Oh, don't delete. I don't know if this is good, but the tile matrix is now yeah, we can't access that. Should this not be a class? Should this just be a namespace? Like, I don't really ever work with namespaces in Unity, so I don't really... like that. And then we could create a new one manually here. And it's gonna look like... a nightmare, that's what it's gonna look like. I think all of these should be capable of being null. And then when you make a new one, wait. Yeah. This should be like... Oh, I want more coffee. Oh, that's why it's wigging out. We need to move that down. And next, there's the question of like items, like having things lying around in the tile. How would that show up, right? But I think for now, I'm just not going to bother doing anything like that. We can add that later. Right now, all I want to do is just render it, more or less. So we want the floor. It's a new layer container. Tile ref. I think we should just say int 0 or int tile tile index. Byte rotation equals 0. Byte current durability. Let's just set that all default. So what we're gonna say is tile ref equals new tile. No. Tile ref equals tile list. Tile list. Tile index. Rotation equals rotation. Current durability equals tile ref dot durability. Current volume equals tile ref dot. Why is that? Oh. Tile index. And this is gonna suck balls. We're gonna have. I'm gonna have to write this using a method. We're not gonna do it like that, which is fine. I don't like having tile matrix dot tile matrix though. I don't know why. I just don't like it, but I don't really know how else to do this. But now we need to go back to main controller, and we're gonna get rid of all of this and draw, and we're gonna say we generate location here, which we don't really want to do here. I was working on like weather and generating towns and locations and stuff, but I'm gonna do that later. We're gonna start doing basic shit like just rendering a world and moving around a little character on some tiles. That's it. So here now we have the main controller, and the main controller should contain, we have a game world here, but it should contain, right now at least, just a public tile matrix. Tile matrix equals new tile matrix. And then that's where we're just gonna say tile matrix dot tile matrix equals new tile container. Array. And for now we can make the array like 50 times 50 or something. Or tile matrix dot tile matrix. See, I hate this. This is a Y. I want to change it. Cool. It's X. This is bad, I think. I'm not sure, but I think doing get length is bad. I don't remember, but I think it's bad. Because it's slow. You should cache the length when you iterate through an array like that. I think. I'm not sure, but I think so. I think we just do that. there, and then we generate... This is generating just grass there. Then what? We need a player character. Well, I mean... I guess we can try making a draw method. It's so hard to make things. Oh, things are difficult. That means it's time to open up the other project. So I can see how it was done there. Dino project. Load content. What do we call this? Like entities? Got an entity. The entity has a public vector 3 int. We don't have that. We have a vector 2 int. We need to implement that. And here we just do this. If y equals y, then we do return z. Same thing here. Don't know about the hash code. Don't know how that works. Actually, right now it has a vector too. But I feel like it should be a vector 3. Like position. I'll be right back. Yeah, it should probably have the vector 3, because I would like to have a z-axis in the world, but it's hard. It's why I want, like, when it comes to like exploration games and games with like house building and stuff like that, I think 3D is just superior. That's just reality. And that's why I typically want, like, that's what I want to have. But I kind of just want to do something. Like, I just want to work on a game here. And I feel like doing what I want to do in 3D, the way I want it to, in like the way I want the 3D to work, is just so much work that I end up not doing anything. So I feel like just building the game in 2D is just so much easier. Plus, I don't want to learn 3D modeling, really. At least not at this stage. So I think just making something at the level of like CDDA, I think is fine. Because I think all of the systems translate. Like they're like transferable one-to-one from 3D to 2, or from 2D to 3D at a later stage. Because it's all about world generation. It will be a little bit tricky to modify the world generation to make 3D things, but at the end of the day, it's mostly gonna be like blueprints anyway, I think, because you can't like procedurally generate a house in a way that isn't ass. Like, you kind of have to use blueprints to some degree. Otherwise, you're just gonna be like stuck forever. Like, and with that in mind, like, making a blueprint for a 3D house is just the same as making it for a 2D house. It's just more annoying. It's just like literally 20 times more annoying because you have that many more layers. At least. And here too, how do we determine which sprite we're using? That's gonna be a little trickier because that's actually gonna be a layering thing. But for now, it just needs to be the sprite. But it should just say sprite here, I think. And that's really all we need right now, to be honest. I don't know if I want to control data loading here. I don't even know if I want to do what I'm doing here. Because here I have like a main controller where I'm doing things here. But I don't know if that should just be like, if I should just do the main controller as game 1 here, but I don't know. I think the main controller should just be where the logic happens here. And then we have the draw stage here. That's it. But I'm just not sure, because we have like load content here, right? It doesn't really matter. I just don't remember the basics. That's what that's what we're doing here. I'm guessing it's going to be content. Content.load. This should be in content, not in here. Yeah, that's how it should be. Think. So this should be graphics slash tiles slash tiles. At least that's my guess. And then sprite sheet would be sprites slash sprites. There's an error. Alright, we've loaded that. There. Let's see. MonoGame pipeline. Execution pipeline. Doesn't say. Execution order. Initialize load content. Update and draw. Is that true? Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, okay, so we want to do stuff in begin run. Let's see, how do you do this? I don't know if I want to draw things like this, but yeah, let's not use that. That's our sprite. And that should work. I don't know how to write casting. Oh, yep. MonoGame's fine. It just don't remember how to do things. And I'm just trying to figure out like the most basic shit here. Like how to... Oh, this is the X and A vector. Yeah, like just how to render a sprite, right? Type converter, vector to type converter. Alright, fuck it. I'm not gonna write a type converter. We're just gonna say new vector to position X, position Y. And then draw. Let's see. Player object dot draw dot sprite dot draw. Sprite batch. Position is new vector to int. Player object dot position dot x. This is obviously not ideal. I actually kind of think that should draw right now. What's wrong? Is it... Load content. T-Rex equals new T-Rex. I think I know. Perhaps. What if we say this is 4032? There we go. We got a stick figure. It's the reason was because it actually, I'm gonna set it back to 0, but the reason is because this actually works from the top. So this needs to be like that. And let's see. We'll just change it. And the tiles as well. Let's change that. See if that's enough. Yeah, there we go. We got a little dude there. And here we run main controller.draw. This is where I'm just not sure. Like, honestly, I don't know. Should I really have the main controller, or should I just run everything in game? I could just change the name of game 1 to main controller, and then that's that, right? Like everything just runs from here, regardless. I was just trying to change it, or I was just trying to work with like the same structure I have in the other project. And so then here we have a draw, and what we're gonna have to do here is for 4, XYZ. Sprite batch dot draw, and then it needs to draw a texture, and that's gonna be we have X and Y and tile sheet. I'm not sure. I just think I just don't really know. Because it's like I'm just thinking because each tile is gonna need to be linked to a specific tile sheet, right? And it's gonna have to know which tile sheet that is. So it's just like if I don't have like a string, I find it hard to like link it to a tile sheet dynamically. Because I could just give it an indexer, right? And then just put all the sheets in an index. But I'm just thinking ahead in terms of like, how do you make a tile just load from like a text file? It needs to have a target sheet to load from. I'm just wondering if I can do like some kind of caching or... I feel like it needs to be done on load somehow, where it like I'm gonna change this. It's just gonna be an index for now. Because I feel like this is fine to have it like a string, but what needs to happen is that on load, we need to check all of the tiles that exist. And we then need to go and grab all the sheets that exist. Like if a tile points to a sheet, we need to go and grab that sheet, load it, and put it in some kind of list, index it, and then each tile needs to be assigned that index, and then that's what's supposed to be used to load it. Like we're not gonna use a string to draw. That's just silly. But for now, we're just gonna set the index to 0. So the texture is gonna be or should let the tile matrix tile container. Should the tile container have a draw method? I feel like it should. I'm lost. But I also think every layer container should have draw. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna say if floor dot has value, then floor dot draw floor dot value dot draw sprite batch game time. But it also needs to have a camera involved. But let's ignore that for now. And we'll just draw it on the screen. But This should take a vector 2. Int. So we're gonna draw from the texture is not stored here. So this draw needs to have access to this. Or we can send it. Or should it just have access to it? I feel like the tile should maybe have a draw. And then the texture Pretty much like that. If this list is static, maybe it shouldn't be static, because if it's static, we can't edit it after the fact, I think. And then we do something like this. Why doesn't it work? Is it because rename doesn't work when you have errors here? I guess. It works in Unity, that's why it's weird. Is this, it's fine for this to have like this, because this is meant to just be a reference. So it's fine for this to have more information. I don't know how much memory a reference takes up. Like, what kind of data structure is a reference? It points to a place in memory, but is it like a 32-bit reference, or? Assuming 64-bit, every reference is 8 bytes, a pointer. Okay, so that's 64. Okay. It's quite big, actually. Oh, 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 oh. Focus is dropping. Oh. I want to draw tiles. That's the goal for today, drawing some tiles. Oh. We're really close, actually. It's not it's not that difficult. I just need to get this for loop going. It pretty much just needs to pass the correct information down to the tile so it can render itself. I think that's how it should be, at least. Like each tile type, because this is a tile class, right? So each tile entry in the tile matrix should just contain a reference to this, right? And I think it's actually I think it's excessive right now already. But maybe it's okay to have the reference be an actual 64-bit reference. Because the alternative is just having an integer that's 32 bits, which is half the size, which is actually significant. But I'll be right back. Let's make some tea. Right. No, we're just making green tea with spearmint. And just walking around for a bit. I was thinking about your idea for a generalized struct return type the other day, yeah? Probably a bad idea due to the unboxing of structs. When you case them to object. You effectively lose the performance benefit of the struct when you case to and from system.object cast. Okay. Yeah. I think the best approach is to make a struct for every function you need to return one. Yeah. I mean, I actually kind of liked the idea you gave me as well. I don't think you gave it to me on purpose, and it was not what you were talking about, but it was how I understood it. But like, if you have a pathfinding method, right? The way I have it right now is that it's just a static method. You just pass things in and then you get something back. But I kind of like the idea of having it be a class. And when you're doing the pathfinding, you do new pathfinding and you create a class of it, or a class instance. And then that will just contain the data. So once you're done doing the pathfinding, you can just read the variable that contains the instance of the class, and you can just read all the data. But the issue with that is now you have class instantiating and you also have to garbage collect it. So I don't know if that's a good idea either. But yeah, making structs for everything is probably the correct approach, yes. It just sucks. I hate it. Probably be easier and faster to instantiate a single class and give it a reset when you want to reuse it. Yeah, probably true. True. Or just like an execute method that just clears it before it does anything. But it's the same thing. Same thing. Look at him. No, I can't run it. We can't look at the little guy. Oh yeah. Hello, Reguline. Yeah, I'm just taking a standing here and just looking stupid break while I'm making tea because my brain is fried now. Probably not gonna push it that much. I just wanna, if I can get it to render the game, I think that's a good first step, because in reality, I actually don't want the game to be 2D. I want the game to be 3D. That's why I've been working on a 3D rendering engine. But I've come to the conclusion that working on the 3D renderer is just too much work. As much as I would like to. Like, I think I can finish the 3D renderer relatively, like, very, very relatively quickly. But it adds an extra layer of, like, everything. Like, I have to animate 3D models, I have to make 3D models, I have to figure out how to make a good, like, just 3D art style. Like, it's just such a nightmare. So I'm just gonna do something super, super simple. Literally no animations, just CDDA style graphics. At least with a tile set. And just, that's just it. Because I think that's enough. You know, I don't really think a game needs animations and stuff. And in the long run, if I make this 2D game have 3D, like if it has 3D layering and 3D movement and stuff like that, then I can just, like, convert it. Because if the data structures are the same, I can just convert it to 3D at a later date if I want to. But the main point is really just the systems I want to make. The 3D is just like, I just wish it was like that, but gotta pace yourself, I guess. I know a couple of 2D games that cheat the 3D by just moving the player to a similar area that imitates the appearance. Well, yeah, but I don't feel like I need to do that. Like, I can just do it like Dwarf Fortress does it, where you just, you can see, like, further down below you, and it just becomes, you know, like, dimmed or something. Like, it's doable. Like, CDDA does it, even though they took like 6,000 years to implement their ray tracing. But I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna have 2D for now. So, but one second. No, 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 no. Not the poop one. Yeah, I have one. I bought one blend like half a year ago. It's called Ganlu, and it's like a green tea black tea mix, and it smells really good. It smells kind of minty and stuff. But when you boil it, it starts tasting like a barn. Like, you know, the way a barn smells. I don't know if you've ever been in a barn, but it smells like that. Or like the gamey taste of if you've ever had mutton. It has like, it tastes like parsley. Like, it's not good. But it's not like terrible. It's not horrible, but it tastes like animals smell. And it's not great. Parsley tastes the same. Like, if you just take some parsley and just put it in your mouth, that's what it tastes like. It's got that animal smell. But it's not as pungent as actual animal poop. But it is in that direction. But this is just green tea. Oolong tea. And it's fine. But it's kind of bland. Like, green tea isn't that good. That's why I added some spearmint to it. I think it would be good with some, like, a bag of black tea in there or something too. Alright. So, the idea then is that the tile contains its X and Y. It contains its tile sheet index, which I don't know if it needs. I'm overthinking it so much. All we need to do is XY 64 64. Let's just set... Let's just get rid of this. Change this to tile sheet text. And this is your texture. That's gonna make everything easier. And then here, this is all just tile sheet. Like that. And then we want to say tile matrix. No. Tile matrix. No. Is it in the main controller? Main controller dot tile matrix dot tile matrix dot. Hey. I already wrote a for loop. Where was it? Is it in main controller? Okay, it's in main controller.draw. So all we need is for main controller to run draw. I feel like I shouldn't do main controller. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I feel like if I just... Here we have sprite batch, game time. If I pass in like game 1, game access, that way I can just access it. Because here we need... I don't know what I need. Position. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do ipos.x, ipos.y, and this is length.y. Length.x. And then here we can just pass in the position as iPosition, game time, and that's it. And that's where we are drawing. But I feel like it shouldn't be like this either. It should be... Yeah, it should be like this. If floor has value, if a wall has value, if detail has value. And then the layer container should say it should just say tileref dot draw. Right batch position. Or am I creating this? Here. About that. Well, we are rendering something. I don't think it's correct. I don't know why it rendered black though. That was kind of weird. It's rendering blue. It's not correct either. Actually, it is. But the position also needs to be multiplied by 64. Ta-da! Got grass. Oh. And resize the window. Anything else we want to implement today? Main controller. Let's see. What we can do is here we can say we can add some clauses here. Oh, Despis, thanks for the DDDs. If x equals 0 or y equals 0, then else. Red is like 5. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So we got red. Then what's the next step? The next step is I don't want an input controller. I want an input method. Public handle input. Keyboard state. Previous keyboard state. Do we do it right with underscores? Keyboard state. Keyboard state. equals keyboard dot get state. If previous keyboard state dot is key down keys dot up is false, and keyboard state dot is key down keys dot up, then layer object is not in main controller, it's in game object. Which it shouldn't be. Tile list. Should tile list be in game? I don't think so. I think I want all of that to be handled in main controller. I'm not sure. Tiles might be okay here, but I kind of don't want it to be in game either. I kind of want a separate just like I have main controller, I kind of want to have some kind of data controller. But I think that's also kind of stupid because the main controller is the only thing that will ever need access to the tiles. So like, why am I doing that anywhere else? I don't really know how I want to structure this. Because the way it works is, in MonoGame you have your main class here, which is game, and it has a bunch of steps in its pipeline. First it does initialize, then it does load content, then it does begin run, then it does update, then it does draw, right? And this is technically like my, because the way I do it in the other project is I just have main controller, and main controller does everything, right? And that's all fine. So I just don't know exactly how I want to handle it. But I feel like it should be like this, actually. Main controller should load in initialize, and then in load content, I should load certain things, but main controller should have a load content as well. Like here in the game, I don't know like what kind of things I really want to load here. Because I feel like anything that has to do with the game running should be loaded in main controller. So what the game should handle is a little... I'm not really sure. The one thing I can see, maybe, is that from game I can run components. So if I initialize main controller here, then main controller runs here, right? And then I can also have maybe like a UI controller, perhaps. Like that, like just run like the big chunks in order here. But I don't know if I need to do that either, because I feel like the UI would be handled in main controller too. More or less. This is why I kind of like having everything in one file only. Honestly, like, I don't know. Just one main. That's that. I hate this. This is the kind of thing that's just stupid and I can't get past. Like, I don't know. Because I don't like. We do have system controller here, so I don't actually have to do like this here. And I apparently didn't need it in the first place. We can just access it through system controller. But yeah, player object should not be in here. It's that simple. Tile list. Sprite sheet. Tile sheet. Should all be here. Then main controller. So the content. content root directory. Why can I access it? Game.content. And then we say main controller dot load content. Should be in the order it happens. Load content is there, then begin run, then update, then draw. Now it works again, okay. Oh shit! I can walk down by pressing up. This is weird though. If keys down. Oh, it's because I'm not setting previous keyboard state equals keyboard state. That's how it is. How about now? Alright. We can walk? Hell yeah. Hoggies? But then instead I'm actually gonna move this to player object, which is an entity. And we're gonna say public void handle input. And then we need a call it MC. It's inaccessible. This is why I never make a variable private. It's just garbage. Like it's just trash. Why bother? Fuck private variables, man. And then handle input. Like I could pass it in. I'm like, what's the what does it matter? Like I don't understand. Like private, I don't know. The only thing I've ever heard when it comes to using private versus public is protecting variables from inadvertently being altered if your CPU is running at like 99.5 degrees Celsius and there's like errors happening. Which for certain software, sure, yeah. But like for a video game, like I kind of don't care. I'll be honest. Or maybe I do. Like at some point, maybe I do care, but if you're working with another programmer, it's a way to keep their hands off your implementation. Yeah, I can see that. Everything has to be more explicit. But like making this private here is like, because here now, if I'm gonna handle input, I guess the entity doesn't really need to contain it. Like, not really. Because I have one entity that's going to be affected by it. So just having it be like this is probably for the best. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say vector to int, movement vector. And then we are going to say I guess true is bad when we are doing a collision check. And this as well, like tile matrix are... Fuck it. Fuck this class, dude. I hate this class. Let's just keep the tile matrix in the main controller, just like we're doing in the other game. There, we've got the tile matrix. This is a tile container. So I want the tile container to contain This is then gonna contain... Actually, this doesn't need to take anything in, I think. All we need to say is if floor.hasValue and floor.value.tileref.collision type is greater than 0. And true. And then we do the same thing for all wall detail. Then we go back here. We say collision check. And all we have to do is say return this, actually. But we have to say if
sexy dynamite.
Let's open up the old project. I have a bunch of methods that are very useful, such as just checking if something is within the matrix without having to type it all out, because it sucks to type out. Don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call this project, I'll be honest. I have no name for it. Let's just call it like Help Punk. There, so now we have collision check here. And then we're gonna say if collision check player object dot position movement vector. This is actually a little tricky. Oh, it does take a vector 3, okay, fine. Vector 3 does not have plus equals. Now it does. Yeah. This is plus movement vector. But the thing is, I don't know how weird this is. Yeah. I kind of want to convert. Because what's happening is that I mean, I think this is wrong. Right movement vector plus 1. I mean, that's correct. No matter what, that's correct. There, it should be false, because I couldn't walk into the wall. Now I can walk here. Yeah, okay, no, it works, it works. But it's like... in MonoGame, things are drawn from top left to down. And I think that's just confusing. So I kind of wonder if I should write some kind of converter, because I like having logic just be plus means up and right. Like, I don't know, man. But we have collision now. We can walk here on the grass. But we can't walk past the red because red has collision. That's badass. I feel like that's good. Let's not overdo it. That's fine. I mean, the thing is, when you're making things simple, it's fast as fuck. Just making collision and like colliding with tiles is easy. Especially when it's just 2D. Yeah. The problem is, or the biggest issue is that I want the world to be procedurally generated. And what that means is that there's no point in making like a level editor, really. So in order to do anything, the entire procedural generation is gonna have to be written. That's that's the issue. And that's why I have always started there. But it's just so hard. It's like you have to start somewhere, right? Because the proc gen needs to have a base to stand on. Otherwise it can't do anything. And the easiest way to do that is to just like slap in some Perlin noise and just go. But Perlin noise is ass, and I don't want to do that. And that's why I instead opt for trying to simulate tectonic plate movement and convection currents. Which is like the other end of the spectrum. It's just as stupid. But what I could do is we could do some more basic things, like we could implement some basic menus, and we could just be like trying to implement building a house, for example, because that's just like you have to be able to select a tile and place it somewhere, and that's just a level editor, but it's like gamified, right? So there's still a lot of mechanics that could be made here, like building things, whatever. How like it affects time and stuff like that. There's also the possibility of trying to do something with a non-locked, like non-gridlock movement, but I feel like once you do that, it creates a greater demand for animation. And that's the issue, because when you're doing just tile-based movement like this, what you can do is you can create paper dolls, and you can then put clothes and armor and weapons on it with just sprite layering. But if the second you like implement free movement and you start animating even a little bit, that becomes literally 20 times harder instantly. So I think just tile-based movement is probably superior. I'm not really sure what to do. So I think we're just gonna think on that. And we'll call this a day. I don't want to overwork on a Sunday, so let's just be happy with where we are now. We have a bit of a springboard to continue next time, whenever that is. I don't fucking know. And we'll just go play some video games. So, I'm gonna go play some Pee-wee. I'll see you in a bit, maybe, or I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging. Have a good day. Bye-bye.